Hi guys, I've got my outdoor scene here, and I wanted to have different walking sounds on different surfaces. I found a reasonably good way to do this. It's probably the best way. Is I've just created 2D planes. They're partially hidden under the ground, so you can see that it'll still work when it's hidden underground. I've got like metal. It's about the same size as this next. See, it's picked up. In the editor, it says surface is now ship. So once that changes the sound, from that point onwards, it stays with that sound. So that's how I wanted to do it. It's much better rather than using proximity boxes where you have to be fully within it or without it to change, and having to resize that for each and every little bit of change in the surface. I mean, that's a bit too time consuming, and also it's resource intensive. All these proximity behaviors running all the time in the background. That's no good. This just runs once from the player every 200 milliseconds. It does a bit of a check over the local objects only, not on the whole map, just on the local objects, and I'll show you that later. So don't worry about the darkness. That's the start of the day. It's just resetting. But there's dirt, there's ship. This is meant to be carpet, just for demo, for the color, just so you can see. See. Carpet, and here's the snow. It's half hidden under the, so it's picked it up underneath the ground, so that's good, that works. So you can hide this underground and it'll still work until it comes across the next one, and then it changes. This is like a volcano type sound. Yeah, like lava, hardened lava or something. Yeah, slate. Yeah, so that's alright, it looks good. Back to the snow, carpet again. Back with the ship. And back with the dirt. Yeah, so that all works good. No problems there. I'll show you how I did it. I'll just back in a second. Okay, back again. I've just got my game loaded up in the editor. As you can see, I've got a folder called services, and it's just I've just dumped in there as a child node whatever service I wanted, and it just picks up the first 4 letters if it walks over it, and then changes the sound accordingly. So I've got all my sounds in a table. I've got about 10 sounds for each of these, so it just rotates. It's just a random selection of each one. Yeah, and that works pretty good. So there's no behaviors running on any of that. It's just there's no cost CPU power. All it's doing is every 200 milliseconds. Okay, so firstly, all it's doing is after it's walking 10 steps, so it'll only update, firstly it updates all the local objects. You might have a big map with, I don't know, 100 of these things or more, and you only want to look at the local objects, so this is all this does. It only looks at the local objects within a distance of 100 units. So that's roughly about right. Probably could make it slightly bigger, maybe 120 or something. But anyway, it's pretty good. Just does a for loop over the child nodes of that of all the ones that's found in the whole map every 10 steps. So this is the one that checks everything, but it only does it after you needed it on the 10th step. So it doesn't run it very often. So that's good. So that firstly creates an array of all the local objects within 100 units distance from the player. And so it looks over all of the child node items in services. So that's item 3, child node count. There it is there. So, and then in my behavior footsteps, I've called it mod because I've modified it. It's the same one, but it can use up to 10 different sounds, and also this is the little thing I just added in there extra. So I've just done a for loop over that local array of different services, and so it doesn't need to look at everything in the whole map. It just looks at the local ones. It's probably like 5 or 10 or maybe 20 things at the most ever, if you're lucky. And most of the time it'll be nothing. So yeah, so and that just says, does line collide with bounding box of scene node? And it drops the line directly from the player straight down. 100 units is probably a bit too much. Probably only need about 60 to 80 there, really, just in case. You know, because I'm going to use that inside a ship. I don't want it to go through and hit the floor, the deck below it. But anyway, but yeah, so that works pretty good. It just picks up the first four letters, substring, and changes the variable walk, and then plays that walk sound with its appropriate volume here. So I've got all volumes, different volumes for walking and music and everything. Yeah, so it works pretty good. Of course, you can use proximity boxes inside, indoors. You can get away with that because when you close the door, for example, you can actually just hide the whole room, and any proximities in that room will just be not working as well. So you can use proximity boxes okay indoors, and you can even hide a whole level. If you've got different levels, for example. And that's okay. It's all right because you're probably not changing the sound too often. But outdoors, it's not very good at all. Using proximity boxes is not very good at all because I want to have lots of different walking sounds in the maps. This is just hasn't got proper shading at the moment, so it looks better than this normally. But yeah, so this is how I'm going to do it, and it works pretty good. So just as a more efficient, better way to do it, and it's actually a lot easier. All you've got to do is just set these up, just line it up with the texture where you want it to change when you walk over the top of it, and just simply drop it into the surfaces folder, just like that. Boom, done. And just hide it, make sure it's just hidden underneath it, and yeah, that's it, you're done. Yeah, so that should work pretty good, I think. So I hope you like that. And cheers.